so you cannot stop to pick up anything that might fall out. I can make brief pauses along the way for pictures. I just gotta warn you, they're gonna be brief. We're only able to pause for about 5 seconds at a time, simply because we have a schedule to keep, and only in certain areas for certain animals, so not for every single animal that might appear. So just keep those cameras ready, but maybe switch them to an action mode or a sport setting if they have that capability. This usually helps with taking quicker pictures out of the reserve. We're just about to enter the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. It was established in 1971 to help protect the local animals. Over the years, the animals have grown used to the presence of people, which is great news for us. We usually see it about. The first part of the reserve we're going to enter is the Little Ituri Forest. The Little Ituri Forest is home to animals with excellent camouflage, which is the ability to blend into the background. That can make those forest animals a little tricky to spot sometimes. So we'll need to keep a sharp lookout. Let's see what we can find. Oh, I see an okapi. Off towards the right-hand side, you can see a large animal with stripes on its legs. It looks kind of like a zebra, at least half of a zebra. But notice the top half is a deep chestnut color. Its face is very long and giraffe-like. Well, maybe you can't see your face anymore. Please have a seat back there, sweetheart. Make sure you stay seated for your safety. Okapi are the closest living relative to the giraffe, not the zebra. The reason they have that unusual stripe pattern is it helps them to blend in. Very good camouflage. They do pretty much disappear when they go behind bushes too.
James, you saw that? Have you seen him? Yeah.
Watering holes like this one on your left make important gathering places for lots of animals in the forest. It does give us an opportunity to see one of the rarest and most elusive animals out here, the black rhino. Well, lately our black rhino sightings haven't been that good. That's because there's just not that many left to see. Over the years, hundreds of thousands of black rhinos have been killed for their horns. Today, there are fewer than 5,000 left in the entire world. Coming up on the left, black rhino. We're going to pull up into our first pause for about 5 seconds and grab a quick picture. Just look over on the left-hand side by the rock wall. Black rhinos are very large, very powerful animals. They can charge at speeds of 35 miles per hour, despite weighing about 3,000 pounds. Big animal. Their horn is actually made out of keratin. Keratin is the same fibrous protein found in human hair and fingernails. Well, you wouldn't think this would be very valuable, but it's extremely valuable on the black market, hence why they're hunted heavily. Now, just up ahead of us, I see some orange-colored antelope. They're a little far. We'll see if we can get closer. They look like bongos. Bongos are then nicknamed the ghost of the forest because they're very rarely seen. It's a very shy and reclusive antelope, and well, it just disappeared. I think they headed behind some bushes. But we'll keep a lookout. Tip top of the hill on the left, you can check out a light tan-colored antelope. Just a glimpse. Those are called greater kudu. Second tallest antelope on the reserve. Males have horns, females do not. There's a bongo by the water's edge. Both male and female bongos have horns, so it's a little harder to tell apart sometimes. We're going to be exiting the forest, but we'll head up this hill and approach the Safi River. And in the waters of the Safi River, keep a lookout, everybody, for some kiboko and mamba. Kiboko is Swahili for Nile hippopotamus. Mamba is Swahili for Nile crocodile. Hippos are one of the largest land animals in the world. In fact, a fully grown male hippo can weigh more than 5,000 pounds. They are nocturnal, more active at night, so during the day they're usually napping. Yep, sure enough, look over your shoulders to the right, there's one napping underwater. Can't stop here though, but we'll go around the corner and see if we can find some more. Here on both sides of the river. Make sure you're having a seat back there, sweetie, and the little ones, they can sit on your laps, but unfortunately they do need to stay seated though. Never know when we might hit a pothole. Now if you look off towards the left-hand side, you're going to see some big grayish white birds on the island. Those are pink-backed pelicans. During their mating season, their backs will turn a light shade of pink. Oh, there's a hippo.
Wow.
Where's she going? A quick pause in case we don't see her again. The hippo will usually walk or glide along the bottom of the riverbed to get around. Makes them look very graceful. But they're just so heavy, they just kind of sink right down to the bottom of the riverbed, so they really don't have much choice. Don't worry about the birds, by the way. They are not on the menu. Hippos are herbivores. They only eat plants. A fully grown hippo can eat about 100 to 110 50 pounds of grass every single night, though. Very large appetites. I should probably warn you, coming up around the corner, we're going to have to cross a very old bridge. This one tends to make me a little nervous, too, so just hang on tight, and, well, we'll take it pulley-pulley just in case. This bridge has seen some better days, and those crocodiles are awfully hungry. Now, crocodiles are large, powerful predators that can bite down with a pressure of more than 2,000 pounds per square inch. That is literally strong enough to crush bones in their jaws. From the tip of their nose to the tip of their tail, crocodiles can reach up to 20 feet in length. It's actually one of the largest, if not the largest, African carnivore. And not an animal you want to go swimming with either. So I think on that note, it's time to get away from those hungry-looking crocodiles. Alright, we made it safely. Let's go. Now we're heading on over towards the savannah, which is a completely different ecosystem from what we've seen so far. With different animals, too. Speaking of different, coming up around the corner, we're approaching one of the reserve's ancient baobab trees. It's coming into view right now. These giant trees can go leafless up to 9 months out of the year. So if you notice, there are no leaves on the branches of this big tree on the right, and that's why. It's just not the right season. It's actually one way the tree conserves water. They also conserve water simply by storing it in those thick trunks during the drought season. Baobab trees are ancient. They can live for thousands of years. That's just the first of many we'll see out on the reserve, though. This is one of the best views in the whole reserve right here. These are the Serengeti grasslands we're looking at. These grasslands stretch for several hundred miles throughout East Africa. It's a super highway of sorts for millions of migrating animals that pass through here each year, like wildebeest. Speaking of wildebeest, I see a couple lying down on the far right. Those are the gray animals. Wildebeest take part in one of the largest herd migrations on Earth. They travel in huge numbers every year across the grasslands of East Africa. That was just a small herd, but it's not their migratory season right now. Saw some other animals on the right, which we'll swing around and see if we can find again. More familiar animals tend to live here all year round, like elephants, lions, and of course, giraffes. This is all part of the wild Africa, working together to try and save. Coming up on the right, a giraffe. We're going to pull up and do a pause. It's a good view. This one looks like a male based on his height. The males are the ones that reach the really high heights of up to about 20 feet or so. Females rarely get over 15 feet. A baby giraffe actually starts out really tall too. At birth, they're already about 6 feet tall. Well, if you think about it, they got to be able to nurse because mom's still pretty tall. Giraffes are social animals too. They travel in groups called towers. Tower giraffes. So I guess we'll see if we can find some more. In the meantime, we're passing a series of large mounds of earth scattered all over the savannah. These are termite mounds. Termites make these as hard as concrete. Hard enough that elephants will use them as a scratching post. Once they're worn down enough, smaller antelope will climb up on top of the termite mounds to use them as lookout posts. That way they can keep a lookout for predators that might be hiding in the tall grasses. Speaking of tall, there's a giraffe on the left. And on the right. Everywhere. These are all Maasai giraffe. There's many different subspecies of giraffe, but Maasai tend to be the most common on the reserve. You can usually tell them apart based on their spots, though. Like, for instance, these Maasai giraffe have small, dark spots with jagged or rough edges around their spots. But no two giraffe have the same spot pattern. They're unique. These are human fingerprints. Also coming up on the right-hand side, you'll see some dark antelope. They're called sable antelope. Sable antelope are the official symbol or emblem for the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. We think they make beautiful silhouettes with their long, curved horns, which can reach up to 5 feet in length. Oh, speaking of longhorns, coming up on the right, you'll see an animal with very long horns. It's called an ankle-leg cattle. We're going to get a little closer view. The horns on the ankle-leg cattle can reach up to 6 feet. It's a pretty good view, so we'll pull up and do another pause. This probably a male. Sometimes it's hard to tell. Like in the back, I see another one. Males have thicker horns, but they both have horns. Females do too. The horns are vascular, which means that blood actually pumps up and down the horn. So as the blood pumps into the horn, it cools down. and then it returns to the body at a cooler temperature. So, and in fact, their horns actually act like a cooling system more than anything else.
Well, that suggests that's me. Yeah.
There's also knockdown trees in the area too. Maybe we're getting close to elephant country. Elephants will knock down trees in order to eat them. It's good for the environment in a way, unless the grass is spread more. Giraffes eat the undersides of the trees, and this allows light to enter onto the lower savanna. Large antelope will mow down some of the tall grasses, making room for new plants to grow. Little nibblers like warthogs and gazelle trim around the edges. So in a perfectly balanced ecosystem, there should be plenty of food for all the animals to eat, since they all eat different parts of the plant. More knockdown trees. Maybe we are getting close to elephant country. I think we should keep a lookout for them soon. Elephant country around this part of Africa is also known as Tembo country. That's because Tembo is Swahili for elephant. Now off towards the left you can check out Monkey Point. Mandrills, they like to hang out on top of that rock sometimes. Mandrills are kind of monkey, but they're pretty shy. Sometimes we see them, sometimes we don't. Don't really see any right now, I don't think. If you see any movement in the bushes, it could be a mandrill. Could also be a squirrel.
They're just monkeying around.
Haven't seen any elephants yet either, but they might be over by the red clay pits this time of day. It's actually not too far up ahead of us, so we'll just keep on trucking. See if we can find some elephants. Oh wait, I should probably warn you. We've got another old bridge to cross.
Oh gosh.
I'm not a fan of African bridges. They tend to make me a little nervous just because they look a little bit on the shabby side, but this one's been well traveled on, so I'm sure it's perfectly safe. Yeah. You know, maybe we should just keep our fingers crossed for good luck. Just in case. You never know about these old bridges. Ah, so far so good. Except for that noise. These old bridges creak and groan a lot. I'm sure that's a perfectly normal noise, yeah. Not normal! Everybody lean right! Lean right! Save your drive! Just take deep, calming breaths. Front tires are off. Your driver's safe. That's good. Back tires are... those are off too. Hakuna Matata. No worries, everybody. We made it safely. That's the last bridge I'm crossing today. Alright, we made it to the red clay pits. Elephants will eat small amounts of clay since it's full of nutrients and minerals and they don't find it in normal diets of plants. You can see some tusk marks in the walls of the clay and footprints down below. So it looks like elephants have been through here recently. Let's go see if they're still hanging out in the area then. Scientists on the reserve have been studying elephants' vocal communications. We're hoping that the more we understand about how elephants communicate with each other, the better prepared we'll be to protect them from threats like poaching. One thing scientists have learned is that elephants do not like bees. So they're using this to their advantage, actually, to help farmers in Africa by building beehive fences around farmlands. Keeps the farmers' crops safe from raiding elephants. Keeps the elephants safe from retaliation, too. Win-win for both. Oh, I think I see some elephants. Let's see if we can get a better angle, though. We'll pull up a bit.
Yeah.
I think we're getting some music on the radio, too. Must be in range of the Harambe radio station. Alright, there we go. Pretty good view. Up ahead, it looks like a flock of greater flamingo are visiting the island. Greater flamingo have the lightest color pink of all flamingo species. Flamingos do get that pink color from their diet of shrimp and krill in the water, full of a vitamin called carotene. Is this vitamin that's thought to turn their feathers pink? out of the range of that radio station. Now earlier we saw a black rhino, but we're going to keep a lookout for their much larger cousin, the white rhino, entering their territory. Well, even though great effort has gone into protecting the white rhino from poaching, they're still one of the most poached animals in the world. They're considered a threatened species, though. Not where we want their numbers to be, but they're at least slightly better off than the black rhino, who's endangered. Oh, there's so many. Is he a baby? No one. I think we're going to get closer, though, in a bit.
Oh, that is pretty.
One of the trucks up ahead is holding for something in the road.
I don't know if I've ever seen
I guess this is a good place to hang out then, huh? We got some rhinos to watch.
That's awesome.
The white rhinoceros is actually not named for its color. The name white is a mispronunciation of an Afrikaans word, white, which means wide, refers to their very wide mouths. The rhino just got out of the road, so I guess we can get a little closer now. Over the years, the white rhino became the white rhino. That's how they got their name. Maybe we'll see their very wide mouths pretty good in a moment, too. Little brown antelope on the right called a bontabak. Bontabak were almost went into extinction in the 19th century. Today they're thriving on protected reserves. Oh, look at the baby going into the road. Yeah, I guess they have to stop again. Looked about 4, maybe 5 months old, that little baby white rhino. At birth, they're only about 85 to 90 pounds. Maybe she But a baby white rhino, once it's fully grown anyway, it could weigh over 5,000 pounds. Big animal.
Hop on down, buddy. That's pretty awesome. That's really cool.
Now all you have to do is roll around.
And a little baby white.
Yeah, start kicking to our
That would actually be funny. Start flinging
They look so cute. I want to go pet them.
Yeah.
Right, you can do that at Jurassic
So it's
Park.
just
You
a
can
little
open
close
the
to
door,
stop.
but
A little
there's
close.
no locking mechanism.
Where is it?
Oh, dang.
White rhinoceros are very social animals, as you can see. They travel in groups called crashes. For some reason. Oh, here's the baby.
Enjoy your snack.
Again, unfortunately the baby's too close to stop by, but we'll go slow.
Anything greeny, grass.
She's still getting used to the trucks. She's still a little skittish around big trucks sometimes. Baby white rhino, lucky for mom, is born without the horn, but you can see her horn is just starting growing. It's not attached to the skull, but it does grow 3 to 6 inches in a single year.
That is awesome.
Allowed to.
What a cutie. Who's so good, little guy?
Almost keeping an eye on us.
Showing us his better side.
Good mom. Coming up around the corner, we're approaching a large rock called a kopie. Kopies are large rock formations that jut out over the savanna, making excellent vantage points for animals like lions to look out for prey from, or just to lie in the sun on, which lions often do. Like right now, yeah, there's a male lion taking a little snooze on top of this flat rock. At least he's nice and visible, though. We'll pull up and do a quick pause. The lion is inactive about 18 to 20 hours per day. Oh, he just raised his hand. What that means, inactive, is that they're usually not doing much of anything, napping, sleeping, just lying around. Lions are the only big cat to hunt cooperatively in groups called prides. There's usually male and several females in a pride. Let's see if we can find any females. They might be off hunting. Not really the right time of day. I think I see one at the edge of this cliff. There's a female. You can kind of see her anyway. She's a little hard to spot. The lionesses do most of the hunting at night when it's cooler. Male lions do have a very important job, though. They have to protect the pride and protect the territory. That's their job. Just around the corner, we're going to be approaching warthog burrows. Warthogs are the largest burrowing mammal found in Africa. They use their big tusks, their tough snouts, and even their feet to dig out their burrows. But the warthogs don't really like lions. I don't know if we're going to see any. They're kind of close. Oh, there's one. It's rolling in the mud. Look at that. So towards the left, you can see a warthog in that mud wallow. Warthogs have those sharp tests not only for digging, but also, of course, for defense against predators. When they go into a burrow, they'll actually back in, and this keeps those tests pointing outwards. They can defend themselves better from predators. Not too many predators like to face a warthog's tusks. They're quite sharp. See another little brown bontebok on the right-hand side, little brown antelope. Bontebok are also close relative to wildebeest, which you can kind of see in their long faces. Well, coming up around the corner, we're approaching Magadi Glen. Magadi Glen is a new addition to the reserve. The land up ahead is recently reclaimed land that we've been working hard at trying to reintroduce new animals to. A few migratory species have been seen coming and going in the area. Nothing's been real permanent, but it never hurts to keep a lookout. Yeah, I'm not seeing much right now. Oh, I do see some birds. Coming up on the hillside to the right, see some white birds with yellow bills. These are yellow-billed storks. They're actually quite the carnivore. They eat all kinds of little animals like fish, frogs, lizards, snakes, and occasionally other birds. If it's small enough to fit in the bill and they can catch it, they'll eat it. Well, here in the reserve, we've seen quite a few animals today. We're actually working on several ways to help protect a lot of the animals we've seen. Like, one thing we're doing is promoting the recycling of cell phones. Because cell phones and other electronic devices, such as laptop computers, contain a metallic ore known as coltan. Coltan is mined almost exclusively in Central Africa. Unfortunately, this mining for coltan is responsible for a lot of the habitat loss and overhunting that's going on in Central Africa today. So simply by recycling your old cell phone every time you upgrade to a new one, instead of just leaving it in a drawer or something, you can actually help protect the environment, even in Africa. You're helping to put that used coltan right back into production. Alright everybody, sadly it looks as though we've reached the end of our 2-week safari. I tell you what though, those 2 weeks kind of flew right by. They really just felt like 25 minutes or so. Oh well. I'm going to drop y'all off at the nearest warden's post, which is coming up right around the corner. From there, it's a short walk back up the hill to the Harambe village in Africa. Now, if you want to see more animals, though, there's this little walking tour coming up at the top of the hill to the right when you exit. It's called the Pingani Trail, home to gorillas, colobus monkeys, meerkats, naked mole rats, and underwater view of hippos, as well as okapi and zebras, too. That was usually just about a 15 to 20 minute walk on average, but it's self-guided, so you can take your time if you'd like. I'm going to be dropping you off at the warden's post in just a moment, so take a moment to gather up all personal belongings. Double check all around so you don't forget anything. Last but not least, here in Harambe, we just don't like to say goodbye. It's too final. What we say instead is kwaherini. Kwaherini is a Swahili phrase that means go well. So kwaherini, everybody.